This is Eagle Owl, and today I'll be talking about CJ Gardner-Johnson crashing out on Antonio Brown. Also, we got to talk about this Kenny Pickett versus Jalen Hurts thing. There's, I guess, articles or whatever's going around saying this, but I will go over why that's simply not true. And lastly, John Ross is signed to the Philadelphia Eagles. But we're going to have a real conversation about the wide receiver room, but let's get straight into it. All right, so let's get straight into it. CJ Gardner Johnson crashing out on Antonio Brown. So, about a week ago, Antonio Brown reacted to a CJ Gardner Johnson song and he said trash. He just simply said trash, and that's CTESPN. But let's play the song. Let's get your guys' judgment on the song.
Bridge up, put it in the motion like a tight end. Hit it from the back end and she diving like a Viking. Just in designer and she moving, yeah, so silent. Go, y'all hold 100, right? You know that she so violent. Papa at a raw when I'm reading all the five print. 100 minutes car, we're reclining in the Maybach. I got a bad bitch and pass the cyber.
I would say this Eagle Owl opinion on the song, it's not that bad. I would say if it was Future or anybody's rapping it, everybody think it's the artist song because he's a football player. He's taking a lot of heat for the song, and CJ Gardner Johnson just simply did not respect Antonio Brown's opinion, and this is what CJ Gardner Johnson had to say to Antonio Brown. So you see the reaction, trash CTESPN. That's to the song. And CJ Gardner Johnson said, bruh, don't play with me. Dot, dot, dot. Straight up. Don't let them people boost your head up, boy. He had this to say. Dude better go pay them banks. Stop talking to me. Exclamation point. CJ Gardner Johnson look like he's taking his music to the heart. Like, okay, I get these other people, but you, nah, you got a name. I'm gonna come at you. Like, don't play with me. You know you filed bankruptcy. Instead on Twitter trolling and doing this and doing that, you better go get your bag up and pay them creditors. That's what CJ Gardner Johnson is saying. So CJ Gardner Johnson just went full crash out mode on Antonio Brown. But Antonio Brown, I think they didn't see it yet because Antonio Brown is really good to responding to guys. I don't know how he have all this time just to troll on Twitter, which he's a funny follow, Antonio Brown, but CJ Gardner Johnson, like, bro, like, you better chill. Like, I ain't the one. Because CJ Gardner Johnson, he will crash out on you. He definitely will. But let's spin it into football. Let's not talk about rap. That's why we need a guy like that. A guy like that, we need him on the defensive side of the ball. We need him talking his talk. You're not gonna let anything slide by these players. Whoever's criticizing them, that's a celebrity. Maybe he'd take it from the fans here and there, which he would go back with the fans here and there. But hey, it ain't our quarterback, it's our safety. And CJ Gardner Johnson ain't playing with these dudes. And honestly, if I listen to CJ Gardner Johnson rap and Antonio Brown rap, to be honest, I'm being totally honest. I'd rather hear CJ Gardner Johnson rap. But again, we just need that energy on the field. Like, even with a nice Smith vlogs and stuff, I know he had like Jalen Hurts in his vlogs and he's talking about OTAs and stuff. I honestly like that. I think the media is going that way. You know, the players are starting to speak out a lot more. If it's X or even if it's like doing vlogs and videos, I personally like it as long as it's, not distracting the team here. And well, I mean, it's cool. It's cool. Like the social media thing going back and forth. I personally like it. I like the engagement and stuff like that. A lot of people don't. A lot of people want all they players quiet out the way. I like it far as the quarterback, but any other position, I honestly don't care. I really don't. But again, back to CJ Garner Johnson. I like the type of timing he's on. Even if it comes down to his music, he's going to go full crash out mode on and off the field. On and off the field. Hell, ask the running back Isaiah Pacheco when CJ Gardner Johnson is on full crash out mode, what happened? So John Ross has officially signed with the Eagles, a 1 year deal. We all know he was invited to rookie minicamp. At first, we looked like, It's not going to make the team. Like, we got this guy, that guy, this guy, that guy. Then now, Eagle Owl's taking a step back. Guy's not named what Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. I don't know how much big of a separation John Ross is from everybody else. Okay, Anaya Smith, we really like, and we like his potential of being a wide receiver three. I keep hearing that he's injured. He got some stress on the joint, or I just hear multiple things about Anaya Smith, and he hasn't been fully participating in camp or practice, anything like that. Could we just be extra with this, like precautious because it's voluntary? Don't want to nag anything or re-injure anything. That could be the case, but hey, if that's the case and he's really hurt and he might not be ready until training camp, why not bring somebody in? Johnny Wilson is an outside guy and a developmental guy. And then when you look at Paris Campbell to me is the best out of that group, of course, besides Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. But Paris Campbell, history says he's going to miss a couple games. He's going to get hurt. That's what the history is saying. I'm hoping that don't happen. But the history is saying that he's injury prone. Like Austin Watkins, that came from Cleveland. Hell, he broke a record against us, but hell, who didn't break a record against our secondary? I like him. And again, we just got a bunch of guys. And John Ross, why is he not better or can be better than these dudes? I know he had one season we had over 500 plus yards. I think over 70 plus catches. I could be wrong. I think it was 2019 with the Bengals. His second best season was his last season in the NFL with the Giants. Had 200 plus yards and like 28 or 20 catches. It's something like that. It wasn't as much as what he did with the Bengals in that 2019 year. And he just really never lived up to the potential because honestly, people thought, yo, that speed, bring that to the NFL. But NFL is more of a schematic thing. So you could be the fastest in the world and can't really do anything. And you see like most of the like really, really good receivers in the league are not really speedsters besides what Tyreek Hill and maybe even Jalen Waddle, but most of these dudes, they just technicians on the field. Like AJ Brown, he's getting faster, but he's not one of the fastest receivers in the league. Or at one point, DeAndre Hopkins wasn't the fastest in the league. Stephon Diggs, hell, you can go like Justin Jefferson. These dudes are not like the fastest in the league, but they technicians when it come to the wide receiver position, route running, knowing the field. They're just good at their game. But speed, yes, it's an add on, but it shouldn't be like super duper reliable because Tyreek Hill didn't really get into himself until he learned how to like really route run and know how to get the ball in his hands. And Tyreek Hill is so fast. Sometimes it don't matter what the scheme is, he's just going to get open. But John Ross just really never found his footing. Truly never found his footing. So maybe he shows something in camp. Like, you know what? We got to sign this dude. And now us signing him to a 1 year deal also doesn't mean that he's going to make the team. It doesn't mean he's going to make the team, but I believe he has a chance to at least be on the practice squad. That's Eagle Owl honest opinion. I believe he has at least a chance to be on the practice squad or somebody's practice squad because again, besides Devontae Smith and AJ Brown, look at the wide receiver group. Tell me why John Ross can't fit in. I'm just keeping it a buck, keeping it real. Again, Anaya Smith injuries, Paris Campbell injury history, Johnny Wilson project, Austin Watkins shows signs he could be that dude, but is he ready to be that guy? And we just got a bunch of guys in the wide receiver room. So luckily we got Devontae Smith and AJ Brown. Hopefully they can stay healthy because when you look at that room, I just don't know. I just don't know. I think John Ross, Paris Campbell, maybe Anaya Smith, of course. and like Johnny Wilson are your four guys. But obviously, we're not going to keep all four. But tell me why John Ross and Paris Campbell can't have a good battle for that wide receiver three, wide receiver four spot. Maybe even we keep five wide receivers like Anaya Smith and Johnny Wilson is obviously gonna have a spot, but I mean Paris Campbell and John Ross could battle it out. Now, if you ask me my honest opinion on that, Paris Campbell should beat him out, but why John Ross can't compete? At least at special teams too. So we'll see, man. John Ross is an interesting signing, but again, the 1 year deal thing doesn't mean he's gonna make the team. All right, so let's talk about the last topic of the day. This Kenny Pickett. So ML Football decided to tweet and delete. So they took Ed Karasik, who's a excellent beat writer for the Philadelphia Eagles. They put like out a overreaction to OTAs. Literally, it's called overreaction, and he put in the title Kenny Pickett and James Bradbury. Obviously, we know the James Bradbury overreaction was that, oh, he's not at camp. Maybe the Eagles are decided to move on, or maybe the Eagles are looking to move on from him. But at the end of the day, it's voluntary, not mandatory, voluntary OTAs. So that was the overreaction to that, and the overreaction was to Kenny Pickett having a good day. And he was being hyperbolic, I should say, in the article a little bit. But let's go over the article of what was said, and people just took out of context and ran with it. All right, so Kenny Pickett delivers. The backup quarterback looked sharper than Jalen Hurts, to be honest. There you go, the overreaction. And look, and then the next sentence said, Hurts was on the money. His first two 707 throws hit an A.J. Brown on a quick inside slant, then following up with a nice sideline throw about 15 yards down the field. Pickett, though, was consistently on target. The Eagles can win games with him if something happens to Hurts. Now, he acknowledging that Kenny Pickett is the backup and will be the backup, and believe Kenny Pickett can do some things if Hurts has to miss a game or two. And at points in practice, Kenny Pickett probably did. I mean, he's going up against the second team, and I don't think Ed Krasser mean that he just simply outperforming Jalen Hurts. He just had some moments where he looked sharper than Jalen Hurts, and that's cool. You're going to have moments like that, but not to disrespect Kenny Pickett. I know a couple Steelers fans, and even they were saying it under the comments. It's like, we all know what Kenny Pickett is, right? He's known as preseason Pickett. He's known as practice Pickett because he always showed signs and flashes when there was no pressure. That's who Kenny Pickett is. If there's no pressure on him, he's really good. But when the pressure is on, that's when he fools. You know who Kenny Pickett is or remind me of based on what the Steelers fans were saying? Jalen Reagor. Remember, Jalen Reagor had all the highlights in the world in practice, but when the game started, that was just a totally different guy. Totally different guy. So he could honestly just be the Jalen Reagor of practice. We don't know. We simply don't know. And trust me, Kenny Pickett's going to show flashes in the preseason. There's going to be some fans overreacting. There's still a fans going to be like, yo, we seen this before. He balls out in preseason. He balls out in training camp. Then when the game comes, he just fold, man. And that's who Kenny Pickett's been. He's just been that type of dude. He's been the Jalen Reagor of quarterbacks. But, I hope the best for Kenny Pickett. When he gets opportunity, he show flashes. Maybe we could flip him for a couple picks. Or maybe a team get desperate and want to really trade for him because that's what we've been doing the past couple years, getting these quote unquote high caliber backups, then flipping them for picks. Hopefully the same thing happened for Kenny Pickett. And hopefully Jalen Hurts don't have to miss any time to test that theory and see if he can win a couple games. Hopefully that just don't happen. Jalen Hurts play majority of the season. The only time I want to see Kenny Pickett is we blown out a team. Kenny Pickett get an opportunity to play. And then that last game of the season or whatever, He played like the second half because we getting ready to take a first round bye or whatever, and Jalen Hurts need rest. That's the only time I want to see him. Injury, no, I don't want to see him due to injury. But hey, man, what do you think? How do you feel about the news today? Kenny Pickett, CJ Gardner-Johnson crashing out. Also, John Ross. This is Eagle Al. I'm